Good morning. Welcome to UUCC, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Canandaigua. We are a group of spiritual freethinkers who gather to celebrate life, build community, and better our world. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. I'm Carrie Graff, your worship associate for this morning, and our service will be led by Drew Valonis. Welcome back, and thank you to Scott Wright for providing music for us for the summer. The service is being live streamed to our YouTube channel, and we plan to continue with hybrid worship services so you can join us each week here in person, on Zoom, or later on YouTube. If this is your first visit, welcome. We invite you to sign the visitor's book in the entryway, and whether it's your first visit or your 1,000th, we are very glad that you came. To help us connect better with our friends watching from home, please turn around and give a wave to the camera in the back that Tom is managing. And at the end of the service, we'll invite our friends on Zoom to turn on their cameras and return the wave to us. I have a few announcements to share with you today. If you have a joy or a sorrow to share, please fill out the slip of paper on or near your chair. We invite you to bring those forward and place them in the basket, which is right there on the table, after Scott rings the chimes and begins to play. And you can also come forward and just drop a pebble in the water if you have a joy or sorrow that you prefer not to share. The UU Church of Canandaigua is excited to welcome Reverend Cindy Terlazzo, who is here today with us as our halftime minister. She is so nice. Y'all are going to love her. She's our halftime minister for the 2025 to 27 church years. So she's here for at least 2 years, so thrilled about that. She's a graduate of the Lancaster Theological Seminary and has recently concluded her part-time ministry with the UUs of Gettysburg, PA, to move to Rochester. We look forward to her ministry with us. She officially began her work on August 1st, and she's here today to join us for worship and our second Sunday potluck after the service today so she can start getting to know everybody. And whether you brought a dish to share or not, you are welcome to stay. We always have plenty. Next Sunday, August 17th, Reverend Ashley Datar-Britt, the program manager for New York UUs for Justice, which is NYUUJ, our state advocacy network, will be preaching at First Unitarian as part of a combined service for our Rochester neighbor congregations and us. Their service starts at 10:30 for anyone who would like to attend that service instead of here next week in person, and it'll also be available to view on their YouTube channel by clicking the online link, and that will be posted in the back and on the chat, because reading that out loud, you'll never remember it anyway. But we will also have a simple Sunday service here next week where I am doing the sermon part of it, which is still to be completely written. So. But I promise it will be done by next Sunday. So there will be a service here and a service there. This one's at 10. Theirs is at 10:30, though. Okay. Many of you may remember former member Gigi Horwood Benton. There will be a celebration of life for her husband, Tom Benton, on Saturday, August 30th at 1 p.m. at May Memorial Unitarian Universalist Society. It's 3800 East Genesee Street in Syracuse. You can find a link with more information and contact for Tom's daughter on the announcement page, and also hanging in the back on the announcements, also copied into the chart. And there's also something for questions with all of those contact informations will also be in the chat and on the backboard. Okay, save the date for September 28th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. for this year's Social and Environmental Justice Kickoff. We're going to be reading Social Change Now, A Guide for Reflection and Connection by Deepa Iyer, and you should read that ahead of time if you can. Copies are available from the UUA bookstore in Spirit, and the link for that is on the back and in the chat. Are there any other announcements? I know there are a whole bunch of other announcements for the good of the community today. Karen, come on up.
So we are offering Side with Love t-shirts. We're partnering with our sister UU churches in Rochester. They are fantastic for wearing to rallies or protests or parades or doing yard work or going to the grocery store, whatever. They are 100% cotton, reflect our values, and promote awareness. They're $15 each and available in sizes from small to 4XL, so widely encompassing. And all three churches are called out on the back of t-shirts. The link for that is in the newsletter that you would have received on Friday that tells you who's preaching and all of that stuff. So not in all those places, Carrie said. Thanks.
Right. I have a few things this morning. I'm Danielle, the worship coordinator and one of the people who's usually pushing buttons on Zoom. Thank you to whoever planted tomatoes out in our garden. I was able to harvest them on the way in, and they will be on the potluck table this morning. And I think if you happen to be here at church and you notice it's time to eat a tomato, that is the time to eat the tomato. So pop by the pumpkin tomato patch when you are here at church. Hopefully, folks who are tuning in on Zoom will not be hearing the high-pitched whine or buzz that has been haunting us for a very long time now and recently got worse. We had Dan from Applied Audio Technology come by and add a little piece of equipment that gives our Zoom call less information to process, and so it should hopefully have stopped screaming. If you notice difficulties on Zoom or when you're watching the live stream videos, please always let me know. Sometimes we can fix it, and we do our best. And then the last thing was, I was really excited that we had a good size contingent for the FLX Pride March in Geneva, even though we started gathering with kind of short notice to get our volunteers. It was great to see how many people turned up, and we were also able to kind of monitor their supplies at the cooling tent while the organizers got to come and march with the parade for the event that they organized instead of feeling like they had to sit there and babysit their stuff. So it was awesome that we were able to come together. One of the groups involved in organizing that FLX Pride March, Finger Lakes Beacon, is looking for volunteers who might be willing to attend the court dates for the upcoming trial regarding the death of Sam Nordquist. So if you are the kind of person who finds yourself available during weekdays and feel like you could offer support to the family and also kind of report out any important observations you come away with from what happens in court on those days, Finger Lakes Beacon is looking for volunteers to sign up to be part of a network. So it wouldn't be an everyday commitment, but they might say, who can be in court today? So if you'd like more information or to get connected, you can come find me and I'll get you that email address.
I have two things. One is for Poppy, one is for us. I'm reminding that we should start making things for our handmade craft table, we put it out around Thanksgiving last year, and it was a big success. And Eileen's last note to us was, give your money to our Jeffs and not the other Jeff. So I'm gonna go with that motto.
Bezos Jeff.
Yeah, we don't like him. We like our Jeffs with G's here. And then the second thing I said this last week, it's Poppy's birthday. How old are you going to be?
Poppy's birthday.
She's going to be 4. We're having an extravaganza here next Saturday at 3. Everyone can feel welcome to come. Yay!
Any other announcements for the Catholic Community? This is like 3 times more announcements than we normally have. Okay, I guess we're done. As we prepare to be fully together, I remind you to silence your phones and devices, anything that buzzes or beeps in your pocket. We now enter a space of worship. And now's the time to bring forward any joys or sorrows or come up and drop it in a pebble. Don't you just love how this church just rolls with the flubs? I love that. Yeah, I didn't even notice it wasn't out there. That's great. It's now time to light the chalice. And so, Poppy, you've been doing a lot of walking this morning. You're getting in your steps. Come on back up here and light the chalice with me. And I invite you to join with me in our chalice lighting words as the flame is lit. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
This morning, as we come together, I'd like to share with you these words from Marilyn Sewell. Come into this circle of love and justice. Come into this community where we can dream and believe in those dreams. Come into this holy space where we remember who we are and how we want to live. Come now, and let us worship together. Please rise as you are willing and able and join in our opening hymn, number 44 in the Gray Hymnal, We Sing of Golden Mornings. And now it's time for a story. Now, I did find some illustrations for this, but I decided not to use them because I felt that with this story, the pictures will be better in our minds. So as we go through, use your imagination to picture what is being described. Now, a long time ago, there was this feller named Ezekiel, and he was a prophet. Now, in those days, being a prophet wasn't just somebody who could say, "Oh, I know what's going to happen." A prophet was actually a job. If you were a prophet, you were the advisor to the leader of the tribe, the grand vizier to the head honcho. And so this is one of the things that Ezekiel came up with as a prophet. I was watching a big storm come in from the north. It was a big cloud with a strong wind, and there was fire flashing from it. Light was shining out all around it. It looked like hot metal glowing in a fire. Inside the cloud, there were 4 living beings that looked like people, but each one of them had 4 faces and 4 wings. Their legs were straight, their feet looked like calves' feet, and they sparkled like polished brass. Under their wings were human arms. The wings touched each other. The living beings did not turn when they moved. They went in the direction they were looking. Each living being had 4 faces. In the front, they each had a man's face. There was a lion's face on the right side and a bull's face on the left side. There was an eagle's face on the back. Their wings were spread out over them. With 2 of the wings, each living being reached out to touch the other one near it. And the other 2 wings, it covered its body. They went wherever the Spirit caused them to go. But they did not turn when they moved. That is what the living beings looked like. Inside the area between the living beings, there was something that looked like burning coals of fire. The fire was like small torches that kept moving around among the living beings. The fire glowed brightly, and lightning flashed from it. The living beings ran back and forth as fast as lightning. I was looking at the living beings when I noticed 4 wheels that touched the ground. There was 1 wheel by each living being. All the wheels looked the same. The wheels looked as if they were made from a clear yellow jewel. They looked like there was a wheel inside a wheel. They could turn to move in any direction. The rims of the wheels were tall and frightening. There were eyes all over the rims of the wheels. The wheels always moved with the living beings. They went wherever the Spirit wanted them to go, and the wheels went with them, because the power that moved the living being was in the wheels. So, if the living beings moved, the wheels moved. If the living beings stopped, the wheels stopped. If the wheels went into the air, the living beings went with them, because the Spirit was in the wheels. There was an amazing thing over the heads of the living beings. It was like a bowl turned upside down, and the bowl was clear like crystal. Under this bowl, each living being had wings reaching out to the one next to it. 2 wings spread out one way and 2 wings spread out the other way, covering its body. Then I heard the wings. Every time the living beings moved, their wings made a very loud noise, like a lot of water rushing by. They were as loud as an army or a crowd of people. When the living beings stopped moving, they put their wings down by their side. The living beings stopped moving and lowered their wings. Then there was another loud sound that came from above the bowl over their heads. There was something that looked like a throne on top of the bowl. It was blue like sapphire. There was also something moving. There was also something that looked like a man sitting on the throne. I looked at him from the waist up. He looked like hot metal with fire all around him. I looked at him from the waist down. It looked like fire with a glow that was shining all around him. The light shining around him was like a rainbow in a cloud. Now, what do we make of this? Suppose it's all real, that Ezekiel really did see this. I'd have some questions about that. Well, suppose he really thought he saw all of this, and he's telling us what he thought he saw. Or suppose he just said that he saw these things. Or suppose that people said that he said these things. Or suppose that the whole thing was made up, and that even Ezekiel was made up. How do we know?
I think you got into some magic mushrooms. That's my theory. I don't know. we knew we would be in for something interesting today with Drew doing the storytelling, but wasn't quite expecting that. Okay, now is the time in our service to join together in the spiritual practice of generosity. Our gifts of both time and money support our church in its work. Each week we would like to spotlight a group or committee and thank them for the gift of time, and this week the group is hospitality. As you may have noticed, well, you won't notice on a potluck Sunday because everybody brings everything and everybody helps clean up, which is amazing. Thank you so much. But otherwise, it's been a bit disorganized as of late. So we are trying to get that reorganized, and Kaya Mells has volunteered to get us organized. So if you are interested in helping out with a hospitality on the weeks that we don't have potlucks, talk to Kaya, and we're going to try to pull something together that's organized. Okay, so 1/4 of our plate collection for the Justice season will go to Justice for Migrant Families, a 401c3 nonprofit agency that promotes justice for migrant families by providing support to individuals in the federal detention facility in Batavia. Information and resources to families in the community and advocacy both within and beyond the local community. You can give to this morning's offering by placing cash or a check into the basket or by one of the options on your screen. Please make a note that your gift is intended for today's offering, and we now gratefully accept the offering. Now it's time to share joys and sorrows. Lynn Crones said goodbye to her father on Thursday. He had 97 wonderful years on this planet, and she will miss him daily, as will many of us. And Abby has a joy, a huge joy for our UUCC friends who marched last night at the Finger Lakes Pride March in Geneva. So powerful. So I'm going to drop a pebble into the column of water now that Abby brought it out from the corner. Thank you, Abby. For all the joys and sorrows that we share unspoken in our hearts, and for the joys and sorrows that we just shared. And I invite you to say with me as I drop that in, we are with you. We are with you.
Now we have the responsive reading, so I'll assume that we have your responses up on the screen here. We are the promises we make to one another. We will
Recognize the inherent value of each person.
We will
Foster a community of compassion and caring for all.
and we will
Engage respectfully in disagreement.
in the service of the values that unite us.
Thus we become with each other and with all.
Now is the time for centering, followed by shared silence. Of course, by shared silence, we mean the absence of grown-ups talking to one another. So let us get comfortable in our seats. Maybe the children among us would like to lie down right on the comfy rug. And wherever you are, let your breathing slow down. Your eyes fall closed. And take a few moments to just be. Take a deep breath in and let it out. May the silence we hold together continue to bring peace to our hearts. Now please rise in body or in spirit for meditation hymn. Oh, we don't rise for that. Oh, I'm sorry. Spirit of life. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
And we just keep rolling.
I notice in the newsletter that the title of my address wasn't mentioned. It's Resolution of Conflict Between Science and Religion. The views expressed here today are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Unitarian Universalist Association or the Unitarian Universalist Church of Canandaigua. You do know that I'm a lawyer, right? I don't think I'm going too far out on a limb to suppose that we here today understand that science is the best way to understand the world we live in. But here we are in church. Throughout history, there have been conflicts between science and religion. Think Copernicus, Galileo, Darwin. But there have also been religious people who were scientists, Gregor Mendel or Joseph Priestley, for example. So, a couple few hundred years ago, there was this fellow named Baruch Spinoza. He was a Jewish man, but he took a concept that is common to Christianity, that of omnipresence, the idea that God is everywhere. He took this concept, kicked it up a notch, dialed it up to 11, and put it on steroids, resulting in the idea that not only is God everywhere, but God is everywhere and everything. He called it pantheism. By the way, pantheism happens to be my flavor. God is the space between an electron and a neutron. God is the gravitational force that binds galaxies together. God is the nuclear reaction that causes the sun to shine. God is the transfer of oxygen from the lungs to the bloodstream. There's a branch or an offshoot or a school of thought in Islam called Sufism. They have a concept called the absolute. When I first heard this as a smart alecky 13-year-old, I said, the absolute what? It took me 40 years to answer that question. Ness, the absolute ness, the pure, quintessential aspect of existence. Now, the Taoists have a concept they call Tao, which is why they're called Taoists. The term Tao is sometimes translated as nothing, but it's better understood if we change the pronunciation a bit to no thing, that which is apart from that which is thing. The Hindus and Buddhists have a concept they call nirvana. That's sometimes translated as heaven, but it's not a place you go to when you die. Nirvana is a state of enlightened consciousness apart from the material world. So, the Hindus and the Buddhists have a state of consciousness apart from the material world. The Taoists have a concept that is apart from thingness. The Muslims have the pure quintessential aspect of existence, and the Christians and Jews have omnipresence, or via Spinoza, pantheism. Seems to me we're all still trying to figure out what an elephant looks like. So, in the early 20th century, there's a fellow named Max Planck, and he came up with a thought experiment. We're all familiar with the geometrical concept of a point, the identification of a location having 0 dimensions. Now, suppose we could identify an infinite number of infinitely small points in an infinitely large universe. Planck called that the divine matrix. Now, I'm going to talk about matter for a moment, but the same concept applies to energy, but in different terms. We all know that matter is made of atoms, and atoms are made of electrons, neutrons, and protons. Now, what are they made of? Well, we have some subatomic particles, such as bosons, quarks, muons, gluons. Now, what are they made of? Well, they're made of vibrating strings that wink in and out of existence. And what are they made of? Well, they're not made of anything. They're irreducible. So, we have irreducible vibrating strings that wink in and out of existence, superimposed on an infinite number of infinitely small points in an infinitely large universe. So if these strings are not made of any thing, they are no thing. And yet, the quintessential aspect of existence, everywhere at the same time. So it seems the scientists have climbed the mountain, only to find the mystics sitting there all along. Chapter 2. Now, it seems to me that when science and religion come into conflict, it's because we're using the wrong means to answer our questions. In science, we want to know, what are things made of? How do they work? Can we use it? And to answer those questions, science concerns itself with that which we can observe, measure, and test. In religion, we want to know, is there such a thing as a soul? What is the nature of the divine? What happens after we die? To answer those questions, religion uses prayer or meditation, sacred texts, and faith. If we use the methods of the one to answer the questions of the other, it just don't work. For example, if we ask science, is there such a thing as a soul? We won't get an answer because it can't be observed, measured, or tested. If we look to religion to answer a scientific question, we might get the correct answer, but the only way to know is to turn to science. So I say we should use science to answer scientific questions and leave religion to answer religious questions. Science and religion don't have to be friends. They just have to keep out of each other's business. Epilogue. Thank you for hearing me out on this. My father was not a minister, but over the course of 31 years, he gave 27 sermons at the Unitarian Society of Ridgewood, New Jersey. So my address here today fills a bucket list item for me. Oh. Okay, and now, please rise in body or in spirit and join our closing hymn, number 168 in the gray hymnal, One More Step.
Drew now has me really working hard this week to get my sermon ready for next week. Thanks a lot. Well, it's about time to extinguish the chalice, but first, let's have our friends from home turn on their cameras so they can wave goodbye as we're doing so. And please join me in our words for extinguishing the chalice and then stay for potluck. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together